So the first thing that happened was the MJ biopic trailer was released. So apparently this has been in the works for a while. I had heard nothing about it, although admittedly it's not something that would maybe come on my radar. But so for people that don't know, there was a trailer that came out, well, a teaser, it was very short, of the Michael Jackson biopic, and obviously everyone went crazy. 116 million views within 24 hours apparently. And so there's been a few not biopics but like kind of attempts at telling the Michael Jackson story previously. None of them were that amazing or that everyone went crazy for, but this one apparently is supposed to be a big deal. The Jafar Jackson is going to be playing Michael Jackson. There was already Twitter is always, for every one side of things, you can always find the other side. So there was I saw so many tweets of people being like, that looks nothing like him. And then other people like, oh my God, he looks perfect. So there's always like that. And it seems like a good cast, and it seems like people are excited for it. What else? The guy who is producing it is, I'm going to find his name, but Graham King. He's the same person that produced the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, so the story of Queen, which did really well. And actually I've heard it attributed, the Queen story attributed to this kind of rise of like biopics that came out after that. It supposedly, tells the story of Michael Jackson's life. Now, I have some thoughts about this. I think, the first thing that a lot of people are talking about and that people are excited for is obviously the music. A lot of people grew up on Michael Jackson, love his music. It was a whole generation. Like my mum kind of like introduced me to Michael Jackson when I was young, and kind of like she had records. I think we still have them somewhere up in the loft, but like some records of like Michael Jackson's and like some early albums and obviously CDs after that. And then when I was young, I was watching, he had this Moonwalker, I think, or what was the name of it? There was like a short film that was like with his song. It's like almost like what now would be classed as like a visual album, but we had it on VHS. He kind of like a lot of people like really grew up on his music, and he has a very favorable, like, we look back with a lot of nostalgia on him. My opinion is I have a feeling this biopic is going to be mid, if I'm honest. I think it's interesting because I don't think it's a knock on any of the elements. Like, I don't think the acting is going to be bad. I don't think they're going to do an injustice to the character or the songs or anything like that. But I think it's like biopics in general are really difficult. I think the first thing that everyone's commenting on is like, does it look like him? Does it sound like him? Blah, blah, blah. And I think when you have someone that is like anyone that you listen to, so whether it's like, they had the Bob Dylan biopic, they had the Whitney Houston biopic, they had obviously the Queen one and all that. When you have someone who you're so familiar with, that like you spent your whole life listening to them talk and listening to their seeing their mannerisms, watching them perform, like all of this type of thing, it's the first thing you're going to notice is all the inconsistencies between that person and the actor, right? Because it's like, it's not them and it can never be them. Like if there's like, let's say, what's a good example? Like maybe when Denzel played like the movie like Hurricane, for example, where it's like that boxer was like, he was very well known, but like he's not a Michael Jackson or whatever. So you can almost, you can suspend your disbelief, but also B, a lot of people won't have heard that person speak their whole life. Or I'm trying to think of like any other true story, basically, where you have someone who, is a real person. But like, let's say if you've got Denzel or Will Smith or whoever playing a real person, to be honest, when Will Smith played Muhammad Ali or when Denzel played Malcolm X, it's like, I wasn't like, yes, as I've seen interviews and I've heard Malcolm X speak, I've heard Muhammad Ali speak, but it wasn't so drilled into my head that I know exactly all the mannerisms and stuff. Whereas like, if you had someone more well known, for example, a Michael Jackson, the only thing you're going to see or pay attention to for most people is going to be these inconsistencies or whatever. That's without getting onto like how they do the music. Now, when I actually really enjoyed the Whitney Houston biopic because I love her music. Again, I grew up with Whitney Houston. I love her music. Like, it was always on in the house, but I didn't, especially in the generation that I was when I was young, there wasn't, of course there was TV interviews, but there wasn't YouTube, there wasn't Instagram. I wasn't seeing and hearing this person talk all the time. So I could kind of suspend my disbelief with Whitney. With the music, what I think they did was basically they had, the girl that played her was amazing, but they did like when she started to sing the songs, they cut to real recordings of her, and it was done like super seamlessly, because I came out being like, holy shit, that girl can sing. And then I looked it up and someone was like, yeah, no, that's not how they did it. It's actually Whitney singing. And I was like, oh well, that makes way more sense, because the girl that nailed like Whitney Houston's music, like that's quite rare. So they could do that with Michael Jackson, of like cut to the real recordings. I don't know that they're gonna maybe there's people on the internet that have more info on this than me of how they're planning to do it, but if they have the Jafar Jackson, if they have him singing, like no matter how good of a singer you are, we're gonna hear that you're not Michael Jackson. So maybe it's gonna be like that. They cut to the actual recordings. I know that like Michael Jackson's estate has been involved. They've kind of like, it's so funny because like they I think it's Lionsgate that are producing it, and they've like thrown them under the bus a little bit a few times, where it's like when there was first like kind of whispers about the film and stuff, and then people were going to the estate being like, oh, what's happening with the film, blah blah blah, and they just replied saying Lionsgate are in charge of all the marketing materials. And it's like oh, okay, cool, like so you don't, like they're not trying to push it as well. And if the estate were like, yeah, we're super excited, I don't know, maybe people would be more excited about it, but it seems like there's been some weird I don't know, issues with that. And I wonder if that's going to affect the quality of the movie. I don't know, but if the estate is involved, maybe they've got access to recordings and things that a normal producer wouldn't have, and maybe they can create all this crazy like seamless transitions. So that would be cool. I wonder if the thing is with the Michael Jackson thing is because he had such a like, there was so much controversy and stuff in his story. I wonder how much of it they're going to attack. And also, like with the estate being involved, it's like, are they going to like sugarcoat some of the stuff because the estate are like, oh, we want him to like be seen favorably in a way. Like this is like, for example, this is like my point of reference, is like when in America, and I don't know the full truth of this, so don't fact check me on this, but it's like there's some version of this which is true. But in America with the military, they will advise and help out Hollywood movies on the understanding that the movie makes the military look good. So if it's like a movie that's gonna like, you know, like let's say, I don't know, what are these alien things where you see the military being like crazy, like oh yeah, they go in to save the United States from the fucking aliens, blah blah. Then the military will come in and like lend their advice about like how they would hold a gun or how they would look or blah blah blah. And if it's not going to make the military look favorable, they a lot of times don't. You know, it's only to make their image look better, basically. So I wonder if that's a similar thing with the estate. We're like, right, the estate are involved, but you can't be out there going like showing scenes where he doesn't look good or he doesn't end up looking good or whatever. And then there's all these, you know, there's like 3, I think, separate instances of where he got accused of like sexual abuse and stuff. And it's like, I wonder if that gets sugarcoated even slightly, or how they make him look. It's worth saying, you know, in 2 of the one of the cases he got acquitted or found guilty. one of the last one, I think it got dismissed, and then the FBI did an investigation on him, and it got there was no evidence that got found. So, and the very first case, which I'm going to come back to in a second, they settled in civil. I mean, this is a whole other podcast, and it's like long, and I don't fully understand it. But there's criminal court in the States. There's criminal court and civil court. Criminal court is like criminal offenses. Civil court is like disputes between people. This is like a really simplified version. So you can sue someone in civil court, win, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a criminal. It just means that and a lot of these things are done in civil court because in order to take it to criminal court, you have to have a higher level of like evidence, whereas in civil court you can have less evidence and like less proof and still win. With Michael Jackson's case, the first one was taken to civil court and it got settled out of court with the understanding that it's not an admission of guilt, which they often do. It's like, well, I'm going to pay you, but it doesn't mean I'm saying I did it. It's just I'm going to pay you to like stop this proceeding. Make up your own minds on this type of thing. But part of the why that links to this, is because I wonder how they're gonna show these things, and if they're gonna show them, because it's like, if you're gonna tell the story, I think for me, tell the story. Like, I'm there for this. Like, yeah, if you're there for like a feel good, like almost like a musical, a feel good fun time, all right, cool. But if it's gonna be a deep in depth film with all the trials and tribulations and stuff, then tell it, you know. So it depends. There's that route, but also this film got delayed a lot, and one of the speculations is because, and I think this is fact, which is a funny way of saying that, like, you can look this up, but basically that first case where he got accused of sexual abuse or whatever it was, when it got settled, part of the settlement was that victim or alleged victim, or you know, whatever you want to call him in this situation, the person that accused him, part of the settlement was, I can never be dramatized in any future like depictions of his life. So you can't make a music video where you have me in it, although that would be the weirdest music video of all time. But also in stuff like this, it's like that first person, like he might be alluded to or talked about. I don't know the details of the settlement, but one of the things was like, you can't have some kid play me in a movie about Michael Jackson's life. So there's speculation that caused some delays in the release of the movie. Also, it's going to affect the storyline of the movie. Like, will they ignore that part? Will they allude to it but not show it? Like, that's a whole interesting topic. But yeah, I just think it's like, you know, this is why I started by saying I think it's going to be mid. Is like, not because of anything. I mean, it seems like they've got some great people, you know, Coleman Domingo, Nia Long, like, so, you know, they've got a childhood actor for Michael Jackson who looks amazing, like Miles Teller's in it. There's, and you know, like I said, the producer's amazing, the director looks good. So it's like, there's a lot of key elements to make it good, but I'm like, I don't know how you can, like, I wonder this about GTA 6 as well, of like how you can have so much anticipation for something and I mean, the difference with GTA 6 is like, we don't know anything about what it's going to be, but there's so high expectations. I'm like, can it meet our I mean, there was about GTA 5 and it exceeded our expectations. But with this, it's like, we know so much about him, and everyone's going to have their own story, their own like understanding of him, their own things that they think people should focus on or that they want to hear more about. And I'm like, I can't imagine how this is not going to disappoint everyone in some way, because it's never going to, like, and you know, there are of course a certain section of people that are, you know, I would hope that I'm one of them, where it's like, okay, I can go watch a film and be like, of course you're never going to make the film that I want to see. No one can, you know, like any movie that comes out or any game that comes out, you're never going to make it how I would want it made personally for me. A lot of people, you know, Twitter included, as a, you know, manifestation of people, like they talk as if like when they say they're disappointed or they didn't think a movie was good, it's because, or like, you could even take this like a dance event or a dance show. It's like, oh, you didn't make the thing that I exactly wanted for me, so therefore it's shit. And it's like, I think that's what's going to happen with this. Is like, everyone is going to dislike it for a different reason. And I mean, you know, I don't know even how a director or a producer like threads that needle of like, there have been certain things where you've had sequels that people have waited so long for and had such high expectations, and they've knocked it out of the park, and it's been like, oh wow, they actually killed it. I don't even know how people do that, because like when your expectations are so high, it's like nothing they can make can ever live up to it. So expectations wise for a biopic, and also just understanding his life, like I don't know, like say for me, it's like, if what I would love from this movie is like a real insight to like behind the scenes. Like yes, of course you understand all the high moments and you see it, but I want to see like things that I didn't know are true happening behind it. Oh my god, I didn't know he had that conversation with Malcolm X, or there was some picture of him like posing with like gang members in LA or something, and then it's like I saw on Twitter, and I'm like, oh my god, I'd love to, is there a story behind that? I'd love to like find out all these things about Michael Jackson that I didn't know, as well as hearing the songs. Because like this is another thing, it's like one thing I liked about Whitney Houston's biopic in certain places is that you saw her killing the song on stage. Obviously it's not her singing, but like you what am I trying to say, like, because you had all the history and all the story and the context, when you saw her on stage, it's even better than just listening to the music video or the song. It's like you really you're seeing her kill this song, but you saw the journey to get to that performance and all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. So when she kills it, you're like, wow, like, aside from all the bullshit, she could really deliver when she needed to, and that adds more like weight to the performances and stuff. So I would love that type of movie, like that type of deep movie with the highs and the full performances, so that we can see, even if it like cut to real performances or whatever, but like so that we can see like the context behind all these amazing moments, if there is some. He had this fight with this person and this conversation with fucking Muhammad Ali before he went on stage. Like I'd love to see that, and then watch the performance through that lens, but then if they don't do that, I'm gonna be like, I didn't go deep enough. Or if they don't show the performances and they just cut to and then the next day he woke up and I'm like, oh, when did he hear the song? Like, yeah, I just feel like I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna. And then that's also with the actor. That main actor has so much pressure on him, and it's like when you have Jamie Foxx play Ray Charles, or you have Will Smith play Muhammad Ali. That is not gonna be like, it's almost like, I don't know a good analogy for that, but it's like, that they're not going to be completely that person, but because you love Jamie Foxx so much, because you love Will Smith so much as an actor or whatever, like you kind of and even Will Smith gets that criticism for playing people too much like Will Smith, but like you kind of understand what you're going to watch, if you know what I mean. Like when you're like, I mean, obviously Jafar Jackson is famous, but he's not like an actor who we've seen in multiple roles, and we understand like, all right, when Ryan Reynolds plays a character, it's kind of Ryan Reynolds playing that character. Where when Will Smith, when Denzel, it's like it's them playing that character, and we understand that, and we kind of love them for it in a way. Whereas this main actor has so much pressure to like, nail it as Michael Jackson, and we don't give him the benefit of the doubt of, oh yeah, but it's you and we love you for you. We just like, give us Michael Jackson or fuck off. Like, so I wonder if that's going to be an issue as well. But all that to say, I mean, I hope it's fun. I think a lot of people will like it. There's a lot of people that are like not hardcore Michael Jackson fans, and also not a lot of people that are not hardcore like movie fans and don't want this deep, like they're just like, oh, if it's just a fun good time and I like the music, then great. I also wonder how much it will like I wonder if people these days, like this current like young generation, know about all the like controversy and all things and what they would think about it, because it's like, I mean, again, a whole other topic, and I don't want to go too much into it just because it's long and depressing also, but like even outside of the allegations, like he did behave somewhat weirdly with kids, so it's like, I wonder if people are like, oh yeah, I knew he got accused and was found not guilty, blah blah blah, but then when if it went that deep and the young generation see him, like he famously said like, yeah, of course I share my bed with kids, and then kind of like backtracked in a later interview, but it's like if people nowadays, they don't know all these details, like heard about it, because I feel like my mum's generation, like let's say my mum and dad both have conflicting feelings about Michael Jackson. Like obviously he got found not guilty, but they also didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that he did or said in terms of this realm, and felt like he acted a bit weirdly. And I wonder if the kids are just left with these, like, you know, fun memories. Like, I'm saying kids, like 20-year-olds or whatever, that are like, oh yeah, Michael Jackson's amazing. But then if they were to hear all these details, would they be like, wait, hold on, what? Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm interested to hear if it starts some conversations, if they even go into that. Or maybe, you know, the movie being out, people will do some more research and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you can, like, even if he's not guilty, it's still like, I wonder if there was some stuff that you would still disagree with if you knew what he was, you know, doing or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it was found not guilty. And not only was he found not guilty and acquitted, like, the FBI went in and did a deep dive after he passed, I believe, and found no evidence of anything wrong or let's say no evidence of anything illegal. So yeah, I mean, this is one of those things of like, people will have different opinions on him. I mean, there's also you know, I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole other podcast on the art, separating the art from the artist and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm interested to see how it is. It's supposed to come out, I think, April 2026. Yeah, April 24th to be exact. This is not an advert for the movie, but yeah, we will be probably reviewing it after we go. Maybe we'll do a capsule day out and go see it.